National figures, more than 1 out of 4 women have been the victim of domestic or sexual violence, and every day at least 3 women die at the hands of a current or former romantic partner. Many women find trouble leaving abusive relationships because their partner controls the finances and important paperwork, including IDs and passports. Here with resources for women who are ready to leave, as well as those who just need to know they are not alone. Welcome from LifeWire CEO Rachel Krinsky, along with former client and now an advocate for victims, Becky. How are you?
I'm
good to meet you both and see you again and meet you for the first time. Rachel, let's talk about the fact that this is still a pervasive problem in our society. It doesn't affect only women, mostly women, but it goes on and on.
Millions of people around the country, and it's still not talked about nearly as much as it should be. We're located on the east side, and people sometimes think that because the east side is a well-to-do, or believed to be a well-to-do part of our area. We serve folks on the east and north side, but of course there are all kinds of people on the east and north sides, and domestic violence affects all kinds of people, and our hotline numbers go up every year.
Housing, safe spaces, all of this stuff is hard to come by when people need to leave.
That's right. There are lots of reasons that people don't leave. The items you mentioned at the beginning about financial control is a huge piece, and sometimes that makes it very difficult for people to leave because they don't have any money to move anywhere else.
It is also incredibly frightening because the fact of the matter is the most likely time somebody would hurt you, kill you, is the first couple of months after you've left.
That's right.
And women know this.
That's right.
Women know this when they have to go. Becky, share a little bit of your story, would you? And at the time you were going through the bulk of this, you were not yet a U.S. citizen, so I'm sure that had a role to play in how you made decisions or had to make decisions. What can you share?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Not being a U.S. citizen makes it harder to do everything, you know. And for example, when my ex-husband and I were buying my house, it just gave him an extra reason to say, I'm going to control all of this and leave you out of it because you're not actually a citizen at this point. And, you know, on top of that, he demanded complete control of all of our other finances. So again, when it actually came for the time, you know, when I was ready to leave him finally, I didn't have any financial independence to do that. And because he had controlled everything and managed the day-to-day of our household, I really didn't know how the housing system worked in the United States. I didn't even know how to look for an apartment.
Just even the basic things.
The basic
that
things,
you would need to do. How did LifeWire help you?
Oh my gosh. So
in so many ways, I know.
LifeWire was wonderful. I remember talking to a housing advocate there and explaining the situation, trying to explain, you know, that even though I had a good job, that I didn't have access to any of the money in my bank account. I couldn't make a single purchase without my husband finding out. And I was so concerned that if I wrote a check to a new apartment that he would find out where I was living. And obviously he had told me he was gonna find me if I left. LifeWire offered to pay the first and last month's rent, which was amazing. But then on top of that, I still remember calling them the day I found a place and I needed an extra $300 deposit for my dog Lily to come with me. And I was so sure that that they were going to say, no, that's too much, and they didn't, and I was so relieved I could take my dog, who was also a victim of abuse, with me. Oh my gosh. I just don't know where I would be without LifeWire.
What made you finally leave?
Oh gosh. There's a lot that goes into that. I was with my abusive ex-husband for 8 years. I'd say about 4 years into the marriage, I knew there was a serious problem. I just kept thinking if I could find the right combination of behaviours, then things would get better. For me, it was a combination of, I actually went back and spent a few months in England because my dad passed away, and some of the conversations I had with my dad before he died kind of let me know that he knew something was going on, and it really made me start thinking about things. And so when I came back after that time, I kind of said to my ex-husband, okay, we're going to deal with this, and he did not want to deal with it, and things didn't go well from there, and eventually I did leave him after that.
Are you okay now?
Oh yeah, you know, the one thing I can say, you know, thanks to LifeWire and the great support network that they put me in touch with, I have never been happier. I really haven't.
I hear that. How's the dog?
Sadly, she passed away a couple of years ago, but she had a fabulous life.
And you had a companion when you needed.
I had a companion, and we had a wonderful few years together.
Talk to us a little bit about what women face and how we can help them.
Well, first of all, Becky's story is unique to Becky and also very similar to the stories of so many survivors that we meet. So each story is different, but each story is about all of the complicated decisions that a survivor needs to make around how she can be safest, or when he is ready to go, or what are the best decisions and the safest decisions. Those are very difficult, and so I think it's really important for LifeWire, and it's really important for all of us to have a lot of respect for people experiencing domestic violence, and the fact that they are really their own best experts about when and how and if to leave. Each of us has a role to play in modeling healthy relationships, in expressing concern, in talking out loud about these issues and letting other people know that it's safe to talk to us and that we won't judge them for their own process.
Right. We should also remind people that these things happen in new relationships among young people as well.
That's right.
And parents need to have an eye out for their teens. What should we be aware of?
That's right. And I think the other thing that's really important about Becky's story is that there is life after domestic violence. Becky is living a wonderful life and is also a wonderful volunteer for LifeWire and giving back so much to the community and to others who are following in her footsteps.
That's pretty amazing, and I know when you talk to other women who are going through this, they know you understand, and I imagine that it's helpful to you as well to be able to reach out and be an advocate.
Oh, absolutely. It's like it's the one thing that really makes me happy now too, is that I've come so far from that experience that I can use it to help others.
Right. Thank goodness. Thank you both. We're a big fan of LifeWire, and we appreciate you both. If you or someone you know is living in an abusive relationship and needs immediate help, please call 911. If you need somebody to talk to who can help with resources like making an escape plan, call LifeWire's 24-hour helpline at the number on your screen. We have also linked all of this information and further resources online on our webpage. We'll be right back.